Enzo Recto, kalaban ang katiwalian at kasinungalingan, kakampi sa katotohanan at kabutihan.
Being present with us. Now, we will now go to the interpellation of the members of the House, no? And I would like first of all to recognize Representative Edsel Lagman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Although I agree that this committee investigation is rather belated because the first act of extrajudicial killing happened 8 years ago. However, this is still of overriding importance because this will give the committee the opportunity to collate, document, and analyze the compendium of evidence on extrajudicial killings in preparation of remedial measures. As far as this representation is concerned, Mr. Chairman, the innumerable extrajudicial killings are accepted facts. No less than the government, including the police authorities, have admitted that no less than 6,000 deaths occurred in relation to the bloody war on drugs by the previous administration. And with respect to President Duterte, who may be culpable for as a principal by inducement and conspiracy and condonation, there is already a case pending against him in the ICC. What is important, Mr. Chairman, is that government authorities should prosecute fully, investigate fully and prosecute the perpetrators, and if warranted, convict them. But that is not a legislative function. That is the function of the executive and the judiciary. As correctly mentioned by the chairman, we are engaged here to prepare, if possible, and if needed, remedial legislation. So let me first go to my first two questions to the respondents, to the resource persons. One, are the present laws on drugs, penal statute, and human rights adequate and sufficient to sustain prosecution and conviction of the alleged culprits? Number two, is there a need for remedial legislation, and what are these remedial legislation you are proposing?
Do we have any resource persons who would like to answer that, or perhaps give us the idea of what we're trying to do here? Is there anyone that would like to give a comment, or any? Tony Neri or Soljen Guevara?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the first question, Mr. Chair, are there enough laws? Yes. In fact, there are enough laws to investigate, prosecute, and convict. That is precisely the reason, Mr. Chair, bakit ipagpaumanhin ng ating kapulisan at ng former administration na ang pamilya ng biktima frustrated talaga. Kasi may batas eh. Mabuti sana kung walang batas. Ang sabihin ng pulis, wala kaming magawa niya, wala namang batas na nagbabawal ng EJK, nagbabawal ng... Ayan ang problema. Kasi may batas. And then, is it sufficient for the PNP to say, we do not commit that as a matter of policy? It's probably, there is no such thing sa mahabang kasaysayan ng heinous crime sa buong mundo. Wala naman talagang may mga papel dyan na from a general to let's kill, So sa amin, yes, and dapat sana na-implement ito ng executive. Tama si Kong Edsel doon. Ngayon ang tanong, kailangan ba ng bagong batas? I couldn't think of any. But in any case, Mr. Chair, investigations in Congress, in my opinion, is bifurcated into two distinct purposes. The first is investigation in aid of legislation, which is what normally is being stated. But I also forward that there are investigations as part of an oversight function. An oversight function is not necessarily thinking of a new legislation. What Congress is doing, if it is exercising its power and function to investigate as part of its oversight function, is merely that Congress is telling the executive, we passed a law, anti-torture law, anti-enforced disappearance law, rights of the accused, etc. I'd like to oversight you. How did you implement this? That is, for me, a major aspect of most of the congressional investigations. So para sa akin po, need na kay Kong Edsel, hindi naman necessarily mag-imbento tayo ng batas. In fact, ang comment sa atin, napakadami ng batas. It's about time Congress makes its own investigation as part of its oversight function rather than in aid of legislation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Can we address the same question, Mr. Chairman, to the Solicitor General?
Go ahead, Sojan.
With your permission, Mr. Chair, I fully agree with the statements made by Congressman Nery Colmenares. I believe that the appropriate laws are already in place. And it's really a matter of an assiduous implementation and execution of these laws that need further refinement or monitoring. And so what I'm saying, Mr. Chair, as I have already mentioned earlier, that while we understand that this committee is conducting this inquiry or this investigation in aid of legislation, its output, as pointed by Congressman Nery, probably in the concept of its oversight function, may actually be useful in the work being done by both the executive and even the judicial department. So in that sense, this is a very useful exercise, Mr. Chair. And I believe that we are heading in the right direction as we conduct this inquiry.
About the comment of our chairperson of the CHR,
Yes, Your Honor. Based on the experience of the Commission on Human Rights in its investigation of the extrajudicial killings in relation to the drug war, I would like to share some recommendations stated in that report, Your Honor, for the Congress to consider enacting or passing laws that separately penalizes human rights violations committed during or as a result of anti-legal drug operations, including but not limited to extrajudicial killings by law enforcement and non-law enforcement perpetrators, planting of evidence, and extortion. Also, the establishing or creating an independent or impartial mechanism or commission to investigate, to bring perpetrators of drug-related extrajudicial killings to justice, more importantly, holding those with command responsibilities fully accountable. And for EJK victims and their families and witnesses to be given adequate redress and reparation, rehabilitation and support services, including access to safe houses, legal aid resources, and social and health care. Strengthening, of course, the power of the Commission on Human Rights to investigate cases involving human rights violations and abuses, including but not limited to rightful access to police documents, right to receive regular reports of drug-related killings from concerned agencies, unhampered investigation, and prescribing criminal and administrative penalties for non-compliance. Special law regarding widespread abuses and violations identified in the report. Those are among the, I would like to add, Your Honor, the possible enactment of a law on mandatory autopsy on suspicious deaths and forensic institute, Your Honor.
Thank you. Former Director General Albayalde, during your time, how did you implement all of these laws?
Well, during our time, Mr. Chair, we were actually implementing yung tinatawag po nilang Oplan Double Barrel. It's like the whole plan of the PNP with regards to the declaration of the former president on the war against illegal drugs. At kung mag-concentrate po tayo dito, Mr. Chairman, hindi lang po yung anti-illegal drugs ang in-implement natin. Yung pong tinatawag nating vigorous internal cleansing namin within the PNP. This is so to prevent abuses and misdemeanors of the Philippine National Police. Doon sa kung makita natin, I have a Xerox copy, although it's not the official, pero based doon po sa Oplan Double Barrel namin, nandun po yung sinatawag naming PNP Internal Cleansing Program, which during the time of then Chief PNP Bato and me as the RD of NCRPO until such time that I assumed office as the Chief of the Philippine National Police from 2018 to 2019, we vigorously implemented our internal cleansing. Doon lang po namin talaga in-implement talaga yung aming disciplinary mechanism to avoid abuses nga and misdemeanors of the Philippine National Police. Dahil maliwanag po nakalagay doon sa Oplan Tokhang, Mr. Chairman, is the respect for human rights and all operations should be within the limits of the law of the land. At wala pong nakasad doon na pang-aabuso. In fact, doon po sa ginawa naming internal cleansing from July 1 to 2016, more than 12,000, I think 12,100 policemen were punished. Of the more than 12,000 policemen, more than 3,000 were dismissed from the service just in a span of 3 years, Your Honor. So record-breaking po yun. At during my time po, kung makipansin din po natin, kanina po nabanggit yung mga alleged killings dito. It was also during my time. Doon po sa Caloocan, nabanggit kanina, yung kay Kian case. It was also my time that I never tolerated any misdemeanors of any member of our PNP then, where I relieved the whole Caloocan City Police Office because of that incident, Your Honor. And kinasuhan po namin mismo yung mga pulis namin. As early as I still can remember, as early as August and September, the first time that then Chief Bato appeared in the Senate hearing, meron po kaming kinasuhan na pulis namin sa Pasay na sinasabi yung mga nanlaban. And I believe those policemen were charged with murder and they were issued warrants of arrest for murder cases. Hindi ko na lang po alam kung anong nangyari ngayon. And doon po sa Caloocan, when I was the RD, I relieved all the more than 1,000 policemen, and all those involved in the Kian operations were charged with murder also. And they were convicted. Hindi ko lang po alam kung hanggang ngayon nasa kulungan sila. Pero na-convict po yung mga pulis na yun. So in our Oplan double barrel po, Mr. Chair, I can say na hindi po namin tinolerate whatsoever yung mga sinasabi nilang abuses or misdemeanors ng mga ating mga kapulisan. If we see something irregular dun sa we immediately, hindi lang po actually irregular, basta kasi nasa NAPOLCOM memorandum din po yan, yung inherent authority ng ating Internal Affairs Service to conduct a motu proprio investigation on all police operations that involve killing, lalo na in the use of firearms. So lahat po yan, I'm sure you can check with our Internal Affairs Service kung yan po ay properly nilang na-imbestiga. So yun po yung sinasabi namin dito na para maiwasan yung sinasabi nating alleged abuses. Even if we were implementing a vigorous war on drugs noon, para nga po maiwasan yung sinasabi nila ngayong pang-aabuso.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chairman, can I continue?
Yes,
Short
before I call,
intervention, Mr. Chair.
meron kayong
Oo, related to the question of Representative Lagman as regards to, kasi sinasabi dito, mahirap kumuha, Mr. Chair, ng ebidensya. Pag hinihingi sa police, sinasabi, information, parang kumbaga privacy. So, baka meron ding dapat tignan na maano rin yung freedom of information, Mr. Chair. So, yun na lang siguro madadagdag ko, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair?
Pwede patapos na
Okay.
ako?
We're going to call Congressman Lagman, then afterwards, Congressman.
Sa akin kasi you ask whoever can answer the question raised by the Honorable Lagman. And the lady there is raising her hands, no? So, we want as well recognize her. Then after that,
Later, after Congressman Lagman make his own statement. Go ahead.
With respect to this internal cleansing, General Arbayalde, may we know whether during your incumbency you rendered interim and final reports on the outcome of this internal cleansing, written reports?
Yes, I'm sure.
Representative Ed Yap and good friend of mine, Representative Edwin Tulfo. Go ahead, Police General Beate.
Yes, I'm sure there are reports of our internal cleansing program, Mr. Chairman. If we could probably ask the PNP from BPRM of the Philippine National Police, and it was also during my time where I created and institutionalized the Integrity Monitoring and Enforcement Group, headed by now General Karamat. Precisely to look into the internal cleansing program of the PNP.
Mr. Chairman, may we know from the good Police General whether he signed any interim or final report on this internal cleansing of the PNP?
Yes, Your Honor. I have here a copy of. Yes, Your Honor. I have here a copy of the internal cleansing, which was signed by me, which the memorandum circular number 2018-007. I think it's not clear, Mr. Chairman, but it's the enhanced, revitalized, and internal cleansing strategy of the Philippine National Police. Signed by me when I was still the Chief PNP on May 27, 2019, Mr. Chairman.
Is that a policy statement or an statistical report?
Pardon, Mr. Chairman.
Is that a policy statement, memorandum, or an statistical report?
No, it's a memorandum circular, Mr. Chairman. The statistics will be with the Directorate for Personnel of the Philippine National Police.
May we
Mr. Chairman.
direct the good general to submit a copy of the interim report and final report during his incumbency, which he signed with respect to internal cleansing?
Mr. Chairman, I'm already retired. May I ask the Honorable Mr. Chairman to probably direct the Directorate for Personnel of the Philippine National Police to submit the necessary report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my next question will be directed to the Solicitor General when he was the incumbent Secretary of Justice with respect to these extrajudicial killings.
Go ahead.
On February 24, 2021, Secretary Minardo Guevara reported to the United Nations Human Rights Council that in June 2020, an interagency review panel was created to examine, quote, cases of anti-illegal drug operations where deaths occurred, period, unquote. May we confirm this statement?
That is confirmed, Your Honor.
It further reported that, quote, initial and preliminary findings confirm that in many of these cases, law enforcement agents asserted that the subject of the anti-drug operations resisted arrest or attempted to draw a weapon and fight back. Yet, no full examination of the weapon recovered was conducted, no verification of its ownership undertaken, and no request for ballistic examination or paraffin test was pursued until its completion, unquote. Would Secretary confirm this statement?
Yes, Your Honor, that was part of my statement before, I believe, the UN Human Rights Council.
Now, Mr. Chairman, may I request the good Secretary to tell us whether he rendered a final report on this interagency review panel?
Your Honor, yes, I rendered a report to the President at the end of that year, in December of 2020, and once again, a year after, in 2021. This report, Your Honor, was based on documents that were turned over to us by the Philippine National Police Internal Affairs Service. And on the basis of these documents that were turned over to us by the PNP IAS, we conducted our own internal review and passed on to the National Bureau of Investigation several cases where we believe that criminal responsibility may be further investigated.
Mr. Chairman, may we request the former Secretary of Justice to give this committee copies of his 2021 and 2020 report on the interagency review panel?
Your Honor, first of all, I am no longer the Secretary of Justice, and I will not have copies of these executive reports. Secondly, Your Honor, I believe that this matter is covered by executive privilege. This was a confidential memorandum submitted to the Office of the President, to the President himself, with recommendations on how to proceed further. So, with due respect, Your Honor, I think executive privilege may bar may bar myself from actually providing you with copies of these reports, unless, of course, it's the Office of the President who will waive that privilege, because it's a privileged communication, Your Honor.
In other words, the copies of these reports are with the Office of the President.
That is correct, Your Honor, because that's where I submitted the executive reports
And,
for 2020 and 2021.
And you do not have any receiving copy of this report?
No, Your Honor. It was a purely confidential and private report to the President.
May we request the chairman to exert earnest efforts to secure from the Office of the President copies of these reports, because this will tell us how the government then reacted to the extrajudicial killings related to the bloody war on drugs, as well as how they reacted to the defense of Neglaban, because this would be part of the report of the good Secretary of Justice then. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for this opportunity to interact with the resource persons.
At the same token, I'd like to ask General Albayalde, do you have the data still with you on what you said a moment ago about the cleansing and the double barrel? Meron pa kayong report ng data na kinikip nyo pa o kinakailangan kunin namin yan sa Philippine National Police?
Yes, sir. Mine is just a text message from my incumbency as the RD of NCRPO from July 1 until November 2019. We can get the official record, Mr. Chairman, from the Philippine National Police.
In fact, we have invited the Director General of the Philippine National Police now, no? General Marvel. We have invited him, no? And he has not in any way answered back. Di ba? Pero what would you advise the present Director General today with all of the problems we have now?
Well, Mr. Chairman, ang PNP po naman is really adheres to the rights of every person. In any memorandum circular or any operational plans that we make, palagi pong nandoon, no, hindi po nawawala yan doon sa specific instructions that preservation and respect for human rights is a paramount consideration.
Yes, we know, and I believe that, no. But we have a lot of complaints here, a lot of victims here. So we cannot deny the fact that even if the Philippine National Police believes in what you're saying, we have a lot of victims that ought to be addressed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, marami din pong during our time na kaya po ng sabi ng former director ng PDEA, meron din pong namatay din naman na mga police personnel during the drug war. And records will show, Mr. Chairman, na hindi po kami nagpabaya doon. At least, I can say during our time na hindi kami nagpabaya doon sa pag-iimbestiga ng mga alleged misdemeanors or abuses ng aming mga tauhan doon.
Nakita ko yan, kaya nga ang inimbitahan natin, yung mga biktima ng mga bata and women, no, na hindi pwede lumaban sa kapulisan natin. Di ba? Yun ang ating inimbitahan dito. We limit to invite the loved ones of the victims that cannot fight back because they are minors and they're women. No? Yun ang gusto kong makita ninyo. All right.
Yes.
Now we have Congresswoman Frasco.
Mr. Chairman,
Castro.
Mr. Chairman, once again, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
in relation to the first question raised by the Honorable Lagman, the lady was not yet recognized.
Yes. I forgot.
Sorry, Your
Attorney
Honor.
Conti, I think that
You might be accused of
our
violation of women's
chairman
rights.
of the committee, our chairman of the Committee on Public Accounts have been looking at you for a while.
Thank you very much for the attention.
You have been looking at her for so long a time. Since the start, Attorney Conti, Congressman Crap has been looking at you. I do not know why, but go ahead.
But thank you to the honorable members of Congress. But first, I was going to answer the questions from the Honorable Edsel Lagman. But if I may just continue and in reference to the earlier answer. So, yes, I do think that appropriate laws are in place. In fact, there should have been no secret jails if the Anti-Torture Act was properly implemented. All places of detention should be registered with the Commission on Human Rights and so forth. There should be no violation of the rights of those under custodial detention or detained if RA 7438 were properly implemented. There would have been no planting of evidence, whether drugs or firearms, if the appropriate laws were followed, both the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act and the Firearms Law, RA 10591. The penalty for planting of evidence carries a penalty of about 12 years in prison maximum. But the problem is, Your Honor, it is very hard to prove planting of evidence. And in the case of Kian de los Santos, where it was improbable for this young boy to be carrying firearms while wearing basketball shorts. Hindi po nila napatunayan ito dahil kailangan po may magpakita at magturo na talagang ipinlanta yung ebidensya. Mahirap po na pruwebahan ito. Ang itsura po nito ay kaya palagay ko po posibleng pag-aralan ang paggawa ng batas patungkol dito sa planting of evidence because of the possibility of impunity. In these crimes, naka-ensure po na walang makakakita, patay ang CCTV. Which is why we have the participation of the state or state involvement is crucial. Kaya po pinaghiwalay na nga po natin yung krimen na kidnapping, arbitrary detention sa krimen ng enforced disappearance. Yung po yung isang material difference. Enforced disappearance, kahit hindi sinabi na, ito nakita kong hinuli. But if there are hallmarks of state participation, if there is a possibility of the state role in the kidnapping of a person, mas gumagaan at makikita po yung kaibahan ng enforced disappearance where the state or state agents ensure that there is impunity. And then, Your Honor, as to possible other legislation, I support the proposal of the Commission on Human Rights for mandatory autopsies, but would like to expand as to private investigations. At this rate, Your Honor, at this point, we're talking about killings committed by the police themselves. Who would be investigating these crimes? The police likewise. And in some cases, the very same policemen would be investigating the same or would be part of the investigation of the same crimes. And this is terrifying for the victims to be meeting the same perpetrators as investigators. There is a possibility that independent or private investigators can come in. And in some of our cases, Your Honor, we have approached private/public. We have approached Dr. Raquel Fortun to conduct autopsies to support or to check the autopsies conducted by the police. Unfortunately, the private autopsy report would be considered as a private document, and it is not of the same value as a public or a police autopsy report. And on the last note, Your Honor, with regards to administrative actions, penalty sanctions, well, true, in some cases, mabilis po yung reports.
Attorney Conte, in your case, as lawyer of these victims, no, are you having a hard time trying
Yes,
to...
Your Honor. And that's what I'm going to share. In one of our cases, this was the killing of Joshua Laksamana, 17 years old, Dota player. He was supposedly, he figured out in an encounter in Pampanga. In Pangasinan, several kilometers away from his hometown in Tarlac. And the police said that he was on a motorcycle, passed through a checkpoint, and then when the police caught up to him, that he shot back. So not only was he riding a motorcycle, he was holding a firearm. Later on, the police develops the theory that he was also known or he was also part of several akyat bahay incidents in the area. Joshua Laksamana does not know how to ride a firearm, has to know how to ride a motorcycle. Busy nga pong magdota eh. He is, I think, left-handed, but the gun was planted the other way around. The kabilang kamay po yung dominant hand niya. And it would have been impossible for him to figure in akyat bahay in Pampanga, in Pangasinan rather. And so it was so very frustrating for the mother to see the police reports support the police records, even the investigation, etc. And the charges we filed for administrative charges and eventually criminal charges were summarily dropped, saying that because the records were complete. In another case, this is not related to Tokhang, but Tambay, which was implemented the same period. In Tambay, the killing of Genesis Tisoy Argoncillo, we were only able to pursue administrative charges. The police built a case of him. Ito po yung binugbog sa loob ng kulungan. Nagkaroon po ng investigasyon yung police. Ang sabi po nila ay yung kapwa preso ang ang gumawa. Ang teorya po namin ay yung pulis po kasi ang gumawa nito. Kaya lang, ang hirap pong kontrahin, no? Ang sabi nga nila, baka napilitan yung mga preso na umamin dun sa krimen. Actually, nagbabangga pa nga yung mga kwento nila. Nonetheless, there was a conviction. We filed these charges, we pursued these charges before the NAPOLCOM, and I think we had our last hearing 2018 or 2019. It's 2024. We have had no word from the NAPOLCOM National Office now. So it's different for every case, Your Honor. Parang sabi nga ni Sheila, importante ba kami? So we just have to figure out sino ba ang importante para sa police or sino ba ang nakilala sa media or sino ba ang dapat pagbigyan ng atensyon. Mahirap po, Your Honor. Pero ultimately, we are looking at several cases that will ripen. On June 18, 2024, Your Honor, one of our 6 cases filed will hear verdict in the case against 4 Caloocan policemen. Hopefully, the evidence we have presented will present this. Possibly, this will be the 4th conviction in a Tokhang case. Hopefully, the court will hear us out and give us justice.
Attorney Conti, thank you. Chairman Paduano, are you satisfied with the
Yeah, of course.
statement?
But, Mr. Chairman, anyway, thank you, Attorney. Mr. Chairman, gusto ko lang balikan yung question raised by the Honorable Lagman. Pwede ba? Just one.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now, when the former DOJ Secretary and now Soldier was asked, OSG was asked, with regards to the report, no? Report from the Office of the Department of Justice to the President then Duterte, he's invoking, he's telling us that it's covered of the executive privilege. Tama po ba?
Tama po, Congressman.
Pero anong exception nga? Anong exception nun?
Meron naman pong mga exceptions doon, po.
No, I will just ask you yung sinabi mo. Not the exception in detail. Kasi as far as I understand, there are also cases while in Supreme Court with regards to investigation in aid of investigation doon sa Senado. For example, yung Neri case.
Yes.
Not Congressman Neri.
Yeah, right.
Ermita case, di ba? Now, may sinabi ka rin if the president, that is part of the executive privilege. But if
the president himself would waive that privilege, then that is something that can be open to the public.
Yeah, thank you. Gusto ko lang balikan nyo kasi, if that is so, this committee can ask for that. And it's up to the president now, sitting president, to invoke such executive privilege or not.
That's the reason why I'm not making a ruling because he mentioned the president.
Yeah, but of course, the president now, BBM, is not the sitting president. And if this committee, through the chair, will ask for it, it's up to the present president to invoke executive privilege or not. Diba? That's why, with that, Mr. Chairman, with the position being made by the former DOJ Secretary, I move to ask for that document. It's up to the president, sitting president, to invoke executive privilege or not.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, it's not the motion.
There's a motion.
Second the motion.
Seconded, and
Second.
no objection. Motion is carried.
Bunyog, bunyog, halikan na kasama ka. Bunyog, kapag buklod ay may pag-asa. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, isa ang pananaw. Sa bagong Pilipinas ang bunyog isisigaw. Bunyog,